Welcome to the Decode Your Body podcast. I'm your host, Tasha Miller. Your body shouldn't be the wild card in your life. If you're done guessing, Googling, and outsourcing every decision about your body, you're in the right place. Here, we look at symptoms through body type and pattern recognition so you can start making sense of what your body is actually telling you. This is body literacy, not symptom fixing or another protocol. Let's get into it. So a few days ago, I was sitting in my office watching a business training, and outside the flowers had finally come up in the garden and there was newborn kittens bouncing across the lawn. And I sat there listening to the strategies and what the coach was teaching, and it was a business model that didn't feel so heavy, one that was actually doable for so many people and with thousands and thousands of women who had followed her methods. And I had this really amazing feeling come over me. I felt like a weight, like a ton of bricks had been lifted off of me. And I felt really excited, almost like I had run around drinking 10 cups of coffee, jittery excited, even though I can't drink coffee to save my life or I would literally bounce everywhere. My business and my vision hadn't changed in that moment, but I could feel a literal physical, mental, and emotional change in my body in that moment. And I know how to read my body with its signals and its patterns. And I can tell when I'm moving into a pattern that is inevitably going to create an imbalance in me on some level and produce symptoms. But knowing and noticing aren't always the same thing. I'm the type of person that can get really hyper-focused on something because I'm so self-motivated and so goal-oriented that I just want to see my visions and dreams come to fruition. If you know, you know. And sometimes, in fact, most times, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And I know, it's so cliche to say that, but that's really what we have to focus on is the journey. Because if the journey to get there is so incredibly hard and painful, by the time you get there, you'll be exhausted and won't fully enjoy what you've been working so hard for in the first place. When we used to renovate houses throughout the journey and the process of each one, I used to say it was like also renovating your character and your soul, especially really difficult renovations. And being in business and starting a business, I have found it to be very much the same. And if you're in business, I'm sure that you could agree that it has also grown you in more ways than you could have ever imagined. Somehow, all of those darkest places become exposed that are within us, our insecurities, the places where we don't feel confident enough, the areas where we maybe feel too confident, and we really feel it in our bodies. Sometimes it's in the form of a pit in the middle of your stomach. I get that. It's like a pit in the middle of my stomach. Or getting a headache when you've been thinking or working too long. Feeling that lack of energy when you've stayed up too late the night before because, the ideas were just flowing because everyone was in bed. And absolutely, you're going to take advantage of the gold mine of ideas even if it's way past your bedtime. And I think a lot of us have been taught that if something is hard or difficult, it must be worthwhile. That if we're exhausted, overwhelmed, stretched beyond our capacity and constantly working, then we're probably doing something important. But this week, I came across a completely different way of approaching something that I've been working on. And my goals didn't change, where I wanted to go didn't change, but what changed was the path and the strategy. And as I sat there listening to that training, I could literally feel my body relax, and I hadn't even made any changes yet. And that really kind of got my attention because, like I said, nothing had changed yet, but my body already knew that this path was going to feel so much better. So in my mind, I had heard a better way to go down this path, and it instantly felt like the load of concrete had been carrying this whole time just fell off my shoulders. And it didn't feel like I had this mountain ahead of me. And obviously, whatever you do in life, whether it's business or whatever, there are going to be peaks and valleys. It's not just going to be straight and narrow. This is easy peasy. But I just felt like I wasn't going to be climbing as hard as everything was unfolding. I am sure that, like me, you are very capable at many things. You can do almost anything and make anything work. And just because you can, though, doesn't mean it's the best way or that you should. And it doesn't mean that your body isn't paying the price for it if we're pushing too hard. Sometimes, we're so focused on getting to where we're going that we never stop to ask if we're making it harder than it needs to be, which can be true in almost everything. And eventually your body, it's going to have an opinion about it. And if you're paying attention, it's going to tell you. So if you think about it for a minute, think about just in this current season that you're in right now. Is there anything that your body has been trying to tell you lately that you've been too focused to hear or to see? The thing is, most of us don't need another sign. The signs are already there. Think about it, like the tension in your shoulders, the way you might feel when you wake up, feeling tired before the day even starts. And lots of ideas are great, but if they won't stop coming and your mind won't settle down, that's your body saying, hey, we're on overload here. And if your digestion is changing for the worst, that's a signal that your body gives you when you're shifting into a pattern of imbalance. Your digestion is connected to many conditions, illnesses, and symptoms. So we need to pay attention to it. And your body is constantly responding to the life that you're living and giving you information every single day. And the problem is that most people have never been taught how to read that information. And sometimes your body notices something before your mind fully agrees with it. That path that you're on, it could be off by literally just only 10 degrees. The destination can still be right, but the way you're trying to get there is costing you more than it needs to. And I think that's also where you need to stop and really pay attention to what your body, your mind, and emotions are telling you. Sometimes we're trying to force our way through something. And, I believe that God is always trying to show us a different way to walk it out. And so that's the lesson that I'm taking with me from this week. Ambition is never the problem, but how you get there matters. And whether you're running a business, leading out a church group, managing your homeschooling journey as a mother, listening to your body is really key and essential. So you need to slow down, and you need to know when to slow down, when to pivot, when to take a week off, and when to recalibrate. And guess what? You can do that without guilt. Otherwise, you won't fully enjoy what you've been working towards in the first place. So in saying that, this podcast is going to be moving to once a month. And part of it is definitely practical, but I'm also working on some really exciting things behind the scenes right now for you guys. And I want to give them my full attention because they are the tools and resources that I personally would want for myself. So I know you're going to love them too. Going to one episode a month, well, it's also me practicing what I'm talking about today. I'm simplifying and I'm listening to my body. And honestly, I never do something just because. I do everything with intention. So I don't want to create podcast episodes just because it's Wednesday and that's what the calendar says I should do every week. I want to come here when I have something I genuinely think is worth sharing, something that I've been learning or noticing that I know is going to help you, and things that I think will help you look at your own body and life in a different way. So consider this your permission slip, not because you need it from me, but because sometimes we just need to hear someone say it out loud. If you've been feeling like some areas in your life need a reset, don't ask yourself, can I keep doing this? Because you probably can. You probably can. The better question might be, is there a better way? A way that my body is okay with? A way that still gets you to where you want to go, that feels so much lighter and allows you to enjoy the life you're building while you're building it. Because sometimes the best thing you can do isn't to work harder, it's choosing that better path forward. I hope that was an encouragement to you wherever you're at in your life right now. I'll be back next month with something new to share. New episodes are going to be airing the first week of each month, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. Thanks for listening today, and I'll see you back here next month. Thank you for spending time with me today. If you enjoyed this episode, tap follow and leave a 5-star review down below. I read every single one, and it helps more women find this podcast. If you want to keep the conversation going, head to tashamiller.co for resources, offers, and all the ways to connect with me.